And welcome to My Xbox and Me, episode 448. I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer, alongside the one and only Mr. Matt P. Video. Matt, how are you?
Hello, how's it going? Me and Crash fought to the death again this week, and I have come out victorious.
Wow, you killed him. I can't believe it. You
dead.
defeated your arch enemy. You killed him. I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you. You did that. That was you. You did that. You killed Crash.
Yeah.
I feel bad because we're gonna have like a really big influx of people watching this week because
they have
of
no
just
idea
doing
what I
unlocks.
just said.
Yeah, Kresh is not actually dead, and Kresh is one of our other co-hosts that does the show with us. All right, and we just have a running joke that Matt's usually dead because Matt's not usually here. It's a whole thing. You'll be on if you stick around. You'll be a part of the joke. If you don't, I understand. And of course, the one and only Mr. Paul Despawn. How are you?
Undefeated, never been killed.
Have you missed a week since you've been a part of the pod?
Nope.
No.
You're like me. You just don't have a life.
I don't have a life. Yeah, I've got a lot of video games, so that's about it. Does that count?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I mean it works. It works.
Yeah.
It works.
Why have one life when I can have 12?
Do you know what? That's a perfect way to say it. If you didn't know, this is My Xbox and Me, our weekly Xbox podcast, right here on youtube.com/My Xbox and Me and all podcast services. Remember, if you want to support the show financially, patreon.com/My Xbox and Me. We have the My Xbox and Me fan club tier. You can go and get that. You can get the show early and some other goodies that go along with that. And it does really help support the show financially. Also, we have YouTube members on the YouTube channel, which is the exact same thing. YouTube. My Xbox and Me fan club member. You also get your emotes, which some people might be using right now while they watch the show live. If you do enjoy the show and you listen on Apple, I love you, especially with the influx I'm assuming we're going to get from the Unlock crew. Please do me a favor and check out the Apple podcast reviews. It helps more than you could imagine. It really, really does. Shout out to our Patreon producer this week, Aaron Guard. Topic of the show this week, lads. Honestly, we could go anywhere with it. I guess the way we're going to start this off is Xbox could cease to exist as we know it. Obviously, big rumors swirling around the internet right now. It has everybody in. It's shaken. I think maybe I'm being a bit too much here, but I think it's shaken our industry to its core, in many ways, because it literally could change our industry forever for how we know. Obviously, this year we already seen the death of E3, which has obviously been a staple in our industry, and the rumors going around right now is that Xbox could be potentially, for lack of a better term, putting all of their relevant IPs that were exclusive on the Xbox system on consoles such as the PS5 and in certain cases Switch. Obviously, we've already had the conversation about I was going to say Skull and Bones. No, that was something else I was doing. About Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush, but this goes a lot further than that. Meaning the rumors are Gears of War, the rumors are Starfield, the rumors are. I'm missing the one that's
Indiana
on the tip
Jones.
of my tongue. That's the one I was looking for. Thank you very much. A game that's not even out yet. Matt, I'll start with you, I guess. How does all this news breaking down, and we'll talk about, let's go with exclusivity first. How do you feel about this?
I think, ultimately, confused is the way that I think most people are shaking out with it. It's important to note we still haven't heard any official word, right? The most official word we've heard. So go on.
No, please. You're going to say
the most official word we've heard is Phil Spencer tweeting out that he will give an official word at some point. I'd kind of expected that by now. Was that Monday night? And as of recording, this is Friday night.
Yeah.
So it's been a while. I'm assuming it will come next week now, and if it's longer than that, then I think that's a real issue. But yeah, we always say this: Xbox is not great at messaging, and probably you could say Microsoft is not great at messaging, but the gaming industry is just so much more vocal and communicative than most other industries.
Well, there ain't nobody worrying about Word, are they, or Excel when something goes out about that.
Exactly, but I think people forget how much of a huge part of Microsoft that is. And a lot of the strategies that we're seeing implemented in Xbox came from that, right? Microsoft Office went to a subscription service and saw a huge increase in profits. That has to have played into the fact that they've gone down this Game Pass route, they've gone down this xCloud route. And, Office is on Mac as well. All right, we're really diverging and stretching that metaphor thin at this point. But it's a thing that's available across a lot of platforms. And so, yeah, I guess they're just seeing the benefit of that and deciding to change tact. And bring stuff like Starfield to PlayStation. It's still confusing.
Despawn, where do you come down on a surface level of your feelings on this?
I like to follow the trends of like the industry and like what one person does and how that affects other people. I'm worried a little bit. So we've seen what happens when PlayStation specifically get in front. They get very complacent. They get slightly anti-consumer because they don't feel they've got a challenge to worry about. Then Game Pass came around. Now they've got a challenge on their hands. They've started to bolster PS Plus. They've started to work out like day and date for their multi-platform games. For like recently, in fact today I think it was Helldivers 2 launched. Or yesterday, sorry, as of recording. Helldivers 2 is on PlayStation and PC now. So they are trying to play catch up with that multi-platform kind of route that Xbox has done so well with Game Pass and Play Anywhere and things like that. And it's because of those competition that they have from Xbox. Like Xbox might be technically in third place. I mean, I say technically, the numbers don't lie. That we've seen, they are in third place, but they are still making headway. They've had a lot of positive spin on a lot of the stuff they've been doing over the last year or so. Granted, they've stumbled along the way soon after, as you had your conversations on Unlocked about. But it worries me that Xbox, if all these rumors are true, that Xbox are looking to get out of the exclusives, then there's going to be technically there'll be a monopoly on console gaming. Switch is a.
I don't think you can say monopoly if I'm being honest, because again, Nintendo is Nintendo. You can't write off Nintendo in any way, shape, or form.
But when we talk about the two the two companies that are making the 4K gaming AAA experiences, there are two major ones when it comes to the first party front. If we lose that, and there's not going to be a competition that's going to force other competitors to bring their prices down, to give consumers value for money, then there is a risk that, it becomes a bit more of a kind of like PlayStation get to write the rules, per se, as it were.
Yeah, I agree and disagree with both of you in ways, right? And you've kind of already heard my opinions, obviously, doing Unlocked, but I have a lot more to say that I also wasn't able to get out on Unlocked. Hence why we're thankful that we have our own platform, right? Big shout out to Ryan McCaffrey, though. Just before we do go any further, the fact that I literally was tweeting at Ryan, hey, get me back on the show. I've got a lot to say. Very, very thankful for him and obviously IGN for having me and letting me speak on the matter to such a large audience. The thing for me, and I tweeted about this, is I've covered Xbox now for 448 weeks, right? In some way or capacity, I've been involved in this podcast. Has never missed a week, still hasn't missed a week. And that's something that we're obviously super proud of. And the one thing that I dislike is the industry telling me that I am being a crybaby, or I'm not thinking about this from everybody's point of view, or all this stuff that obviously I've had a lot of conversations on at the moment. In my DMs are flooded right now with people either agreeing, disagreeing, or telling me to go kill myself. But that's just what happens on the internet. Trust me, water off a duck's back at this point. How can you tell me? So I look at the shirt Matt has on, a little bit different. It's a country. That is the Welsh rugby shirt, right?
It is.
I thought it was. But I support Xbox the way I support Tottenham, which, if you don't know what Tottenham is a soccer/football team. That's how I support this. Tottenham are a business. Long end, short end of it. It lives and thrives off of its fan base and us going to games, us buying merchandise, us buying food at the stadiums, us doing stadium tours, etc., etc., etc. It is a business, exactly the same as Xbox. I have decided to support Xbox, and this podcast is the perfect example of that, right? Of loving something with, and critiquing it, don't get me wrong, but loving something so much that I have dedicated almost a decade of my life to. So to have people, and I kind of want to defend people that are on Twitter right now, and yes, I understand there's I don't even know if I want to give them the clout, but the Tim Dogs of the world and that side of the Xbox fandom, and I love Tim, don't get me wrong, he follows me, we follow each other. I love seeing what he says, he's having interesting conversations right now. But there are just normal people that have invested in this ecosystem who love games, who are also now being told they're crybabies because they picked a box that they invested their hard-earned money into, and people don't think it's okay because something is being taken away. Are we all forgetting that like we invested in a system that was the Xbox Series X or S, depending on which one, two different systems, and the reason we invested in that was off of the promise of great experiences, exclusive experiences. That's what we're sold. Literally, at the Game Awards, we see Hellblade 2. This is going to be the only place you can get this game on this console. And potentially it looks like, and I really hope the conversation online has changed it, but I don't think it would have in a company like Microsoft. It's too big and the cogs are moving. To me, it feels like a boulder rolling down a hill. Like you can't, once it starts going, you can't get behind it and push it back up. It just doesn't work like that. But I don't think people should feel alienated just because they voice their disgruntledness about investing money into something and the company totally betraying, and I do use that word very purposely, betraying what you invested in.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that it looks like, and again, we don't have any official word on this, right? But it looks like they're not delivering on the promise, right?
But they are. That's the other part that pisses me off as well.
Well, all right, they're delivering on one promise and not on another, but they made two contradictory promises of play your games anywhere, we don't care where you play, we just want you to enjoy our Xbox experiences, versus you're going to get the best place to play and exclusive content or games. Yeah, I think, like, again, it comes back to that messaging of going, like, you've said two different things, right? Which one is it? And let us know which one it is so that we're not all stewing you for 2 weeks while we try and figure it out, and be really clear on the messaging. And I don't think they will be. Like, I think next week we could hear, yep, you've heard the rumors, Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves are coming to PlayStation. And that's basically all we get. And they don't even think about... I wouldn't be surprised. They don't even talk about Indiana Jones. They don't talk about Starfield until later on. That's ready or whatever. Can you imagine if the first time we hear about Starfield going to PlayStation is in a PlayStation State of Play?
Woo! It'll never happen. There is no way.
I agree.
On God's given earth that happens, right, Despawn? Right, Despawn? That's not going to happen, right?
Right, yeah, sure. Because Xbox are really good at their communication. Yeah, no. Honestly, scarily, there is a chance that might happen. Not a great chance, but there is a chance, because Microsoft have been that bad at their communication with their community. The problem is, and I'll get into this deeply now, the problem is, for me, for Xbox, they have built their community on being connected to each other. So they've been very open in the past about talking to the community, and they have a friendly nature when it comes to the people online are always communicating with those people, like you say, the Tims and whatnot. And they've had a really good back and forth, and they've built such a good fan base based on that.
Yeah.
But there is the flip side of that, of being when it comes to these kind of situations where we're used to having that conversation with them, and then we see all these rumors coming out of left field from nowhere, and they're quiet, deadly quiet. It's it worries me so much.
I think the thing that scares me the most about all of this is Phil. It's the tweet, and the tone of the tweet feels very PR-ish, doesn't feel very in hashtag in Phil we trust. It doesn't feel like that Phil anymore. It feels like Mr. Nadella looking over his shoulder as he types out this tweet saying, and our business plans will be shared later on in the week. And like it doesn't feel like the Phil that I've come to know, love, respect, and that doesn't change the fact that I still respect him, but it just doesn't feel the same anymore. And I think you hit the nail on the head, right? Like it's something I also had a problem with in my own business, MC Fixer as a business, right? There is a big fine line between making somebody your friend and still being able to conduct business with somebody, right? Because as soon as that line crosses, that line is blurred and you don't know where the friendship and the business ends. And I think in some ways we are sitting there going, no, but Phil's one of us. Phil's a gamer. Phil's not going to do this to us. And then, and I'm not putting anybody under the bus. I'm just using these examples, right? But Andy Greenberg, he always clears up the messaging. When there's ever a fumble or a little bit more information needs to be given about a showcase, it's going to be this long, it's Andy Greenberg is Aaron Greenberg, not Andy, sorry. I am very tired. I've been hosting all week. Aaron Greenberg is always there to clear up the messaging. And it's been silent. And then and then over in the UK, you see, I see Sam tweeting like, gonna be a long week and just stuff like that over part of the UK side of things. And it just doesn't fill me with confidence in the brand anymore. And it's the first time that my PlayStation 5 hasn't been turned on in I don't know how long. And it's a little bit unfair. I've just moved house. I've got it all set up in the unit, and it's a little bit unfair, but I turned that thing on, made sure it was updated, made sure the controllers were updated, made sure everything was installed. I was checking for new games that are coming out. PlayStation hit me up and offered me Helldivers 2 code. I was like, yep, absolutely. Like the door has now been, it went from the door being a creak and there's a slight breeze coming through to me going, all right, let's open this door. Why am I worried about where I play anymore if you don't care where I play? Yeah. If you don't care, Xbox, where I play my games, because you wanna push this play anywhere and blah 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 blah, no problem. Allow me to withdraw myself from your ecosystem. And I'm not saying this is what I'm doing fully, but this is how I feel in certain elements if this is where we're going. But let me withdraw myself from this ecosystem as a whole, and I'll treat you like I treat PlayStation in certain ways, where it's, oh, okay, well, I won't even need to because these games will come to PlayStation. But again, I think there's another discussion to be had there, right? But please go on, Matt. You seem like you've got something to say. I was going to
say, along similar lines, like I hadn't booted on my PlayStation a long time. I've told myself this is the year that I'm going to give JRPGs a chance. Final Fantasy demo comes out. I'm going to go back to Remake, right? So I boot it up, and I know as part of that PlayStation, God, I can't remember the name of their tiers, but the middle tier, which is what I have or whatever, you get Final Fantasy 7 and a bunch of other games. And looking through that catalog, I was like, this is a fucking great catalog. Ratchet and Clank, God of War, like, oh my God, this is insane. Horizon, I think just the first Horizon is in there.
Yeah.
It's like an insanely good catalog. All the Assassin's Creed games are in there. And I was like, oh, they're not, like, I haven't booted up this console in a long time. That's on me. I mean, look, we're in the Xbox ecosystem. We talk about it every week.
Exactly.
But they're not as far behind this as I thought they were. I thought
absolutely not.
I thought this was like a handful of games that I didn't really care about.
You know where they are behind? They are behind in terms of, and this is the thing that Xbox has mastered, right? With like backwards compatibility. Yeah. In terms of like, you don't have to pay extra to get that. Yeah. In terms of their market, I couldn't even tell you what that whole PlayStation Essential, I think it's called. And like the marketing behind all of that marketing and all of that, the packaging for all of that is absolutely atrocious. And that is where Xbox has been and will continue to kick everybody's ass. Nobody touches Game Pass. Game Pass is still the best investment in gaming right now, in my opinion. We're always getting high quality games, new experiences in that system. But I don't think that means Game Pass shouldn't be the replacement for everything Xbox related.
No. My biggest worry is, and we've tried not to be hyperbolic, but I genuinely worry that if they just go all in on Game Pass being everywhere, including PlayStation and Switch, that it will genuinely be the downfall of the Xbox brand. Because the reason you've got to add value, obviously value to customers is one thing, but you've also got to add value to the companies that want to work with you. So we've seen it recently, well, in the last 5 years or so, Square Enix as a prime example of a company that will just directly work with PlayStation.
Because the bag is right. Let's make
the
that
bag
very
is right,
no,
and the user base is there.
No, bullshit. I call bullshit on that.
Okay.
Because we all know, don't get me wrong, I don't disagree with you entirely, but I think the big point there is the bag is right.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going there just out of the pleasure of their heart. And Final Fantasy VII Remake would have made more money being everywhere. That's a fact. It would have had bigger sales being everywhere.
Yeah.
So they got enough money given to them to say this is worth doing this.
Yeah, but let me clarify my point. The point is that it's the exclusivity of Xbox that bring people there in the first place.
Absolutely.
So the Halos, the Forzas, maybe not the latest Forza, but yeah, the Halos, the Forzas, the Gears, etc. If they're not on Xbox alone, then they'll go to PlayStation because you can play everything on PlayStation. Let me get to it. Then if they see that everyone's just going to PlayStation to play all those games, then why bother working on two versions of a game for Xbox and PlayStation when they can just put it on PlayStation because more people are going there? And 9 times out of 10, PlayStation will probably turn around and go, well, we'll pay you extra for the exclusivity anyway. That kind of stuff is going to start snowballing. If you get lack of exclusives on Xbox, lack of third-party developers wanting to put stuff on Xbox, eventually it's just going to be Game Passes, a bunch of indies, and a first party every quarter if you're lucky.
But a first party game every quarter
that will then end up on
come
PlayStation.
to PlayStation in a year's time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's my major worry is everyone's arguing oh well, why not just put it everywhere? Exclusivity sells a console, it keeps that ecosystem alive. And it keeps that competition alive. And that's my main worry is the lack of competition going forward. Yeah, great. Xbox will make all of their money from putting all their games on everywhere. But 3 or 4 years down the line when, everyone's just moved all the way over to PlayStation and they split their install base, that's my main worry.
Yeah, the lack of competition in the console landscape.
Just in the gaming landscape, I think...
That
console's a starting point, but I think it will have a knock-on effect on everywhere else as well.
I disagree with you on the knock-on effect for gaming as a whole, because again, Gears of War is still going to compete against whatever PlayStation. If PlayStation came out with a third-person cover-based shooter, right? That's the competition there. Mm. I think it's for me, what worries me is consoles. I thought we were years in, probably at least we had this conversation with Matt, who loves Clad, right? I thought we were at least a minimum of a decade away from losing our boxes under our TVs. And realistically, this is Xbox absolutely pulling up that handbrake and going, we have to pivot or we have to drift ourselves into a different direction. That's what we have to do. And it's not like we go through, again, this is a very different show compared to what we usually do, right? Because we're sticking on one topic. But we have the news usually, and this Xbox revenue up 3%, Xbox revenue up this percent. It's never down. I'm never hearing Xbox ain't making no goddamn money. But clearly, someone in Microsoft is sitting there going, but it could be more. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, I run a business myself. I love making more money. but not at the detriment of our brand.
That's my main worry as well. Is I'd say I've got a main worry. I've got a lot of worries about this whole thing. But Xbox as a brand is like one of the strongest brand recognitions out there. Like close to like Apple, McDonald's, and Nike, and PlayStation, obviously. But like it's got such strong brand recognition. But every one of these choices that they seem to be making recently is just like chipping away at that brand recognition. It's become almost a joke to some gamers. Like the fanboys generally, but there are a lot of people who are like you said, like, why am I investing in this anymore?
Yeah,
go on, Matt. We've spoken plenty.
Well, I'll jump to the other side then, right? And say that there is a possibility here, and I think it's probably a strong possibility that, similar to what you said, Fix, that maybe we're a decade out from consoles no longer being a thing. There probably is good business sense if you are running a business that's been running as long as Microsoft, you have as much data and history as Microsoft does, to understand that the person who innovates first, a lot of the time, is the person who wins, right? Yeah. So Netflix going, oh yeah, we will love film, we were sending DVDs out to people. We're not doing that anymore, it's streaming. Not everybody was ready to stream HD, let alone 4K TV shows, but they jumped in and they became the Netflix and chill. They became the Verb. They became the Google. And so if you see clear as day, the path ahead of you is eventually 20, 30 years time, maybe everybody's going to be streaming their games because the internet's going to be that good and the latency is going to be that sorted. And we're not going to be selling consoles, but there's going to be an Xbox app on your TV. Doesn't matter if you don't own a PlayStation. Your barrier to entry now is just a controller. Xbox already have the better controller, in my view. I know the DualSense has a lot of fancy features, but the ergonomics of the Xbox controller, I think, for a lot of people, is the better controller.
Agreed.
And the usability of PC, yada, yada, yada. But if that becomes your barrier to entry to getting on the Xbox platform, which at this point is a cloud-based app, in 30 years' time, you're winning because you've got the history of Game Pass, you've got the original Gears of War on there, and you've got Palworld, and you've got Lies of P, and you've got Halo, and you've got Forza. You've got that ecosystem built. You've got that history. I don't know, man. Like if you're playing a 20-year game, maybe this is the move, and it pisses people off right now. But
yeah, no, I get what you're saying, and again, I somewhat agree. I just don't see why they're still doing that now with everything that's in place right now. xCloud and the Samsung TV, and it being on your phone and things like that. We're already gearing up to that. Why ruin your entire brand recognition over this? This is your most loyal fan base is screaming at you right now. Like the people who are talking to casuals. There's no way I can sit there and say to I always talk about Mickey, right? Mickey who plays FIFA and UFC. There is no way I can, and I know for a fact he bought an Xbox One because of me. I know he was going to PlayStation. Yeah. And I was like, no, come on, we're staying on Xbox. Don't you dare. And he's like, all right, cool, I'll stay, whatever.
He loved that Connect, right? He really appreciated that advice he got from him.
He definitely didn't. He actually used to put a sock over the camera.
Smart. That's how they get you.
Yeah. But there's no way I can sit there and say to him, I don't care what the specs are for the next Xbox. I don't care what the home screen looks like. I don't care any of that. If Xbox come out next week and say, yes, we are moving forward, we will be publishing our games on all. They won't come out and just say PlayStation. We will be putting our games on all platforms a year with a year later. Xbox have lost my trust at this point. I don't believe that it might start off as a year, and then it will creep down to 6 months, and then it will be a Redfall where the game doesn't do well, and the player base drops off within 3 months. It was quicker than that for Redfall, we all know. And it'll be, we've decided to add that to PlayStation now to see if we can get another bump. It feels like that is what's going to happen eventually.
The counter to that would be to say, for every Mickey you lose, maybe you've got somebody who's always been on PlayStation, had no interest in moving to Xbox. that plays Hellblade 2 on their PlayStation because it's available, they realize it's an Xbox game. And in the next generation, they don't buy a PlayStation 6 because they got the Xbox app on their smart TV already.
But I don't see that happening.
Like, again, the people
I get what you're saying.
Twitter,
no, I get what you're saying.
The hardcore fans screaming on Twitter are the top 1%.
Yes.
And maybe 20% of that top 1% are actually going to go, fuck you, and burn their Xbox in their back garden. It doesn't actually happen, right? Like, the loyalty that people spew on Twitter isn't actionable. People say, oh, we got to boycott this game for whatever reason.
Hogwarts Legacy.
That is the best-selling game in the world. I didn't even put that together in my head, but that's where I was going. But it was absolutely where I was going. Yeah. Thank you, Fix.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the outrage doesn't necessarily manifest itself in hurting, especially a company as big as Xbox, and with the amount of players that just have Game Pass to play Minecraft and Fortnite.
Do you know what I think hurts the most for me, thinking about it, is how special XO19 was to me. Going to XO19 and in London, being around Xbox fans, I could turn left, I could turn right, and we were all there for our love of Xbox. And realistically, we will never see anything like that ever again if Xbox put their games everywhere. Because I don't care anymore. For me, maybe I can't say that for everybody, right? But for me, if this is the move, and I can't stress this enough, and this isn't me throwing my toys out the pram, this isn't me saying the podcast is no more, I'm not saying any of that. But what I am saying is, did I not just put it in our My Xbox and Me Discord, which everyone should go join? Did I not just put an Xbox Watch in there? Saying, guys, convince me not to buy this. Mm-hmm. If Xbox make this move, I'm not buying Xbox merchandise. I'm not buying Xbox watches. I'm not buying Xbox hats. I know in the grand scheme of things, and I agree with you, Matt, but the one time you lose a fixer, you'll gain 5 casuals that will play on the Samsung TV or whatever you want to say, right? But do I not matter? Do I not, the guy that has started a podcast at the age of 22 or 21 or whatever it was when I started this goddamn thing, and I'm now sitting there at 31, 448 weeks plus a bunch of extra shows. Do I not matter? And yes, I was. I know where I come down in this. Like, was I literally just dollar signs? Yes. And if they make this move, it proves it to the nth degree. Everything they've ever said about the community mattering, they do not give a fuck. I'm sorry, but I can't believe it any other way. They do not give a fuck because they know that this is going to kill the brand. There's no way someone is sitting there saying this isn't going to kill the brand of Xbox. And I know that sounds so, when I say that sounds so hyperbolic, but I truly believe it. If you're going to put your games on your biggest competitor, even if it was just Switch, I'd be like, okay, I'm good with that. You know, Switch, okay. But to put it on PlayStation, it admits defeat. It feels like you are coming back after all the fucking legal battles, after the ABK deal, after we're going to put Call of Duty, you can have Call of Duty, we don't want Call of Duty. Okay, now we're having Call of Duty for 10 years. After all that nonsense we had to fucking sit through for years talking about on this goddamn podcast, for it all not to matter. It boggles my mind and absolutely it pisses me off, if I'm being totally honest. It really, really does.
I get it.
Yeah. Like, it's hard to argue with that kind of, like, I was going to say excitement, but I think it's more passion. Yeah. Like, yeah, it's those passionate players that made Xbox what they were. Like, the people that were evangelizing the platform in some of their darkest times that kept them going. They're then turning around and, well, I'd say kept them going.
Dude,
again.
Let me keep, bro.
Go.
I played Recoil. I played fucking Quantum Break. I played Rise on the Run and was screaming, shoot the catapult at my Kinect. I bought the UFC game on the Kinect to do workouts. Like, I bought the first Kinect before it was forced upon us.
Yeah, me too.
Like, Are you telling me none of that matters?
No. Not if they can make money from like putting it elsewhere. Again, it is the bottom line. Welcome to the world of capitalism. It is about the bottom line.
Do you know what? I agree with you. I know you're
I
right.
don't have to like
I know
it,
you're right.
but it is what it is.
But this is. I think this is like. This I've been in a long-term relationship, just celebrated 13 years, right? So I've not been in too many relationships in my life. I'm very lucky in that regard. But this is the closest I get to breaking up with a girlfriend, where it's like everything that happened beforehand, we are cutting it right here, and maybe we become friends down the road. Maybe
We'll
I'll
hang
see you
out.
at a party. Maybe I'll see you at a party and I'll go, oh, you're looking good, but I'm not going to tell you that because I don't want you to have the sense. I don't want you to have that. Oh yeah, I am looking good. He thinks I look good. No. I'm gonna play your goddamn games. I'm gonna enjoy your goddamn games, but it won't hit the goddamn same. I'm telling you. If this happens, do you know why Last of Us is so special to me? And watching the goddamn Last of Us documentary, watching that, you see the passion coming through. I just finished hosting the Skull and Bones Battle of the Beta for Ubisoft. Again, hashtag ad, hashtag paid for, whatever you have to say for that, right? Do you know what made it special? Watching passionate people talk about the things they made. Xbox, to me, is going to lose all of its passion. It is going to become a metric on a board to me, where I now start looking at this as like, oh, okay, yeah, well, this is happening because it helps the bottom dollar, and da-da-da. And I know that happens now, but it feels like they're just stripping away all of the love, all of what we care about this brand.
Yeah, I think like part of it is like, Xbox was in third place. It as ridiculous as this sounds to say, there was like a bit of a David and Goliath thing, right? Of like Xbox fighting against PlayStation and like, okay, we're going to innovate with Game Pass and like try this new thing and da-da-da. And so we lose some of that. Again, it sounds stupid to say because it's Microsoft and it's the billion-dollar company. If anything, it's the other way around. But yeah, it does lose some of that grit and fight. Because like you say, it kind of like feels like you're giving up the console space.
It doesn't feel like it. They are.
Well,
but then
they are rumored to, shall we say?
Sure.
Whatever.
But like you say, the business side of you goes, well, we made probably much more money and got many, many more subscribers through the Series S than we did the Series X. That proves numbers on a spreadsheet. People don't actually give a fuck about 4K. People don't give a fuck about ray tracing. They just want to be able to play Minecraft and Fortnite and da-da-da-da-da-da. And their mum's going to go out and buy them the console. And so she's going to pick up the cheapest one on the shelf. And it does everything they need them to do. We can get to a point where that is an app on a TV, where that is, whatever. Just get the games in front of the people on the consoles they already have them, because they're not spending money on hardware like they were, or, like they were forced to when there was only one SKU. Because it's not the world we live in anymore.
Yeah, I've just, because obviously we're live when we're recording this, but I've noticed a comment on from Stead. This feels like the end of Windows Phone. I loved Windows Phone.
Yo, seriously, right? So for the people who don't know, I started Tech Radar like 4 years ago, right? And then was at Tom's Guide, and now I'm in gaming side. But the way tech journalists talk about Windows Phone is hilarious and heartbreaking all in the same breath. Like, absolutely. Windows Phone was one of those things that should have been Windows Phone and iOS. Like, Android shouldn't have got a look in, and somehow that's not the way it went. Because they gave up, because Windows gave up on it, right? And gave up on the hardware side of stuff. And actually, it's a really good analogy. Holy shit. Xbox is going to go the way of Windows Phone.
Well, that's it. The Xbox Phone was such great, the Windows Phone, sorry, shall I say, was such great hardware. The software was it was a fun software to use on the phones. Yeah, like at one point they were the best phones on the market, hardware specs, and yet they just gave it up. They bought Nokia for loads of money and then sold it for a fraction and just got out of the market for no reason. And it feels like that. It feels like we're on this upwards climb to getting like the best Xbox can be in its current state, and they're just throwing in the towel.
Do you know what I think hurts the most for me, as someone who's covered Xbox for as long as I have, is we championed, or I championed, and again, maybe that's why I'm taking this so personal, right? Because, and again, I'm not really taking it personal. It's content. I'm not that upset, but I'm only not that upset because I'm in a very privileged position to own everything. Because I'm telling you right now, if I only owned an Xbox, you would see a totally different MC Fixer. I promise you that. But to my point, what hurts the most for me is I bought every single Xbox One exclusive when they came out. Even ones that didn't interest me because I knew the brand. I knew Xbox it does sound so needy. God. I'm just going to go with it because it's the truth. Because I knew Xbox needed me. They needed me to buy Recore. Because they needed the sales. They needed me to buy Son of Rome. They needed me to buy Dead Rising 3. They needed me to buy Quantum Break. Like, I backed that brand and played all those titles, right? Like, even down to like it coming up, like we played. The reviews came out for what's the Bethesda game that did really bad this last year?
Starfield.
Redfall. Thank you. We all downloaded Redfall, all of us, because we knew it's like, look, this is bad, but let's see if we can. Let's see if we can see if there's anything good in here. Unfortunately, there wasn't. But do you know what I mean? And the thing that it frustrates me is now we're getting State of Decay 3's coming. Don't know what it is, but I'm sitting there excited for it. We're getting an Indiana Jones game that looks really good from Machine Games. We're getting Avowed. We're getting just I put the clock. What's the
Clockwork Revolution.
Clockwork Revolution. We're getting all these titles that at least have piqued my interest, and I've gone, wow, we're finally getting first-party exclusives on this damn console. I've been waiting literally 5 years for something that can compete with PlayStation and Nintendo. And as we're getting that, Xbox are about to tell us, you are getting it, but so are they. So let me get this straight. I backed the brand. I not invested to gain, but like I backed the brand. I kept paying with my hard-earned dollar to keep you guys going. And again, I know it's not just me. I'm talking about people like me as a whole, right? And my thanks for that is, yeah, let's just give the games to everyone. And again, obviously Stellar and Khalif on Unlocked had their arguments for that. And, you know, I did agree with Stellar in some aspects of like me being older. I am definitely older. I definitely come from that world of like, I remember in college, sorry. We literally had a debate about why PlayStation was better than Xbox, and that was the PS3 generation, right? And I remember like some kid and me, and I was on the Xbox side, and it's like, yeah, but you have to pay for online. Yeah, but you don't have this, and you don't. And I remember that, and maybe that's why I sit here today so passionate about what I'm speaking about. Mm-hmm. But I just don't. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. I've spoken a lot, and I am sorry.
No.
I don't know. It just doesn't. It just doesn't sit right with me for some reason. And again, I want to make it clear, like when this does happen eventually, I'm not going to be sad that like anyone who only owns a PlayStation is finally going to get to experience Gears of War. Oh my God, you're going to get to experience Gears of War. I'm so happy for you. You're going to get to experience a game that I've always loved, and more people are going to be exposed to it and go, God damn, Gears of War is good, isn't it? Mm-hmm. But you know what? That's going to piss me off even more. You know why? Because you could have come over and bought if you can afford to, you could have come and bought the goddamn console and supported it the way you supported PlayStation. When I heard Last of Us was the best game ever, do you know what I did? I went and sourced the PS3. And I bought a goddamn copy of Last of Us. The same thing with my PS4. Uncharted 4. Oh my God. Everyone, you've got to play this. I went out and bought a goddamn PS4. Because I love supporting games as a whole. And I wish there was more of that, you know?
Yeah. I wish there was a lack of tribalism, but Unfortunately, that's not the way it is. I was going to say something, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, yes. Just going back onto your backing the brand conversation. I want to play devil's advocate. I want to play the Matt side for a little bit. Sorry, Matt. I'm stealing your shtick.
No, I like it. I like it.
I guess the argument has to be made. Has the people backing the brand been enough for Xbox? Because if these, I'm going to say, if these rumors are true, no. Because obviously they've decided that, the market share that they're getting from the gaming sphere right now is basically not enough. They want more, so they're going to have to do things to get that. Like, again, we've talked about it many times in the past. Like, the goal of Game Pass was to be on, was it 2 billion?
No. See, this is where where people.
Is this their bad marketing?
This is the new marketing.
Okay.
And they've changed it, they've adjusted. But when Game Pass first come about, no, that wasn't the goal. The new goal since Nadella's come in and stuff like that is 2 billion gamers around all the bullshit. But too many gamers around the world, and we just want people to play their games wherever they want to, and blah 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 blah. Like what? Like, yeah, sure, okay, like. Cool, as long as you're backing your brand. I was all for it coming to PC. I'm all for it coming to Android phones, and bro, I don't care. Put the stuff on bloody, is it Luna?
Yeah.
Like
Amazon
go put it on Luna. Go, like, cool. But don't put it on your competitor's console. Like, to me, Xbox are in second place. If they say they're in third, whatever. Like, again, like you said, in the 4K race, I guess, right? You can't put it on PlayStation. I don't care how bad PlayStation would be, Dan. They would never go to Xbox and be like, yo, we're really damn bad right now for money. Yo, can we start putting Uncharted on Xbox? It would never happen. Do you know why we've never seen Mario on anything? Because Nintendo back the brand. They believe in their IPs. And all this does to me is prove how weak Halo is as an IP, how weak Gears is as an IP. And the other problem that scares me the most is you're telling me you just did the biggest deal in gaming history for all of these IPs, and you don't think you can convert people over? You got goddamn Call of Duty. This is the problem. Make the thing exclusive. They're all coming over. People take weeks off of work, for God.
I think that's the argument, though. Like when you say you don't think you can convert people, the question is, convert them to what? Because if the answer is the console, then clearly the statement is no. But if the answer is the service, then all right, you give them COD this year, and next year they're going.
They've got it for 10 years.
I know. But what I'm saying is, next year they go, oh, but I could now just get Game Pass, which would cost me a little bit more than Call of Duty, but I also then get all of the previous Call of Duties and this thing and that thing and this thing and that thing and Halo and da-da-da-da-da-da. It's a value proposition thing, right? Like,
no, I don't think it is. Call of Duty players don't care about that. Like, the people we're talking about, they care about Call of Duty. They don't care about everything, but they don't care. I promise you. I told you the story about Mickey with EA Access.
We all know about Mickey.
He don't give a fuck. He don't give a fuck that he could have played UFC for free and all this other stuff by paying £20. He didn't care. He wanted FIFA.
It's a numbers game. So many people play Call of Duty, right?
Yeah.
That every year, some of them are Mickeys, but some of them are on their way to progressing to be hardcore gaming fans that go beyond Call of Duty, that go beyond FIFA. Every year, there are people who break out of just playing Call of Duty and just playing FIFA and try something like Baldur's Gate and go and then start trying everything, right? They're the people that you're trying to catch. They're the people on PlayStation that you're trying to catch and bring out. You know, it's devil's advocate argument.
No, you're not wrong in what you're saying, Matt. Yeah. That's the thing, and that's what I think makes this whole conversation so frustrating. And it could all be 100% irrelevant next week.
Could be the most weird and yet irrelevant episode we've ever done.
It's just go on, this one.
I was gonna say, like, just to move on from this a little bit, still in the same conversation, but and again, going on what Matt said of like getting people in the Game Pass, and you were saying like they've done all of these purchases and all of this work to get the brand to where it is, and now we're talking about like them just giving up on it. They've not even given the purchasers chance to do their job.
No.
That's the thing for me, is like, they've bought all of these IPs, they've bought all these studios, they've got so many IPs that people are clamoring for. Even Banjo-Kazooie as well, that exists.
Yep.
But they've got so many IPs and Banjo-Kazooie that people want, and yet they're not even giving it the chance. If, again, caveat, if these rumours are true. Would say
Not giving, but I think what
are.
Matt's saying though, and I think he's right. This isn't a wake up, but they didn't wake up one morning and go, this is our decision. This would have been discussed before they got ABK. This would have been discussed before they even probably got Bethesda. In my opinion, the conversation around it I reckon it came up around that time.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, remember all the showcases? Xbox and Bethesda. Why is it not just Xbox? Why did they want to keep Bethesda so separate? Why did Bethesda have to have their own thing? Why did Bethesda have to keep their name? I'm not saying, again, it's Bethesda. Of course you want to utilize that name, but it should be Xbox Bethesda. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was always separate. All right, cool. Then that brought us up on Unlocked. Like, then you have the Blade stuff. And you're like, why did we not see an Xbox splash screen anywhere? But it's being made by a first-party Xbox studio now. Bethesda, again. I think there's so much more behind the curtain of all this, of like, this was always on the cards. And that's why some of these deals happened, I bet, which is like, hey, our long-term plan is, and we're just seeing the rumors of the fruits of that, of those seeds that will be implanted when some of these acquisitions went through. The part that I don't understand the most is obviously fighting as hard as they did for ABK, because they had to. They fought, but I feel like I've been manipulated in a way, because we were the ones on Twitter tweeting the FTC and all that crap, right? Which you don't know how much of that works and gets through, and we just don't know, right? Like, we don't know how powerful the internet is sometimes. Like, was we the dumb ones? Because we wanted Xbox to get this deal through. We all cheered and celebrated once it happened. And now we sit here going, but I cheered and celebrated because I was like, Xbox is finally going to be able to compete. Then there is no competition anymore. They are a publisher. Yeah. If the rumors are true.
Yeah. Always say if the rumors are true. Basically, take that as a caveat for the rest of the episode. I think, for me, like, as I'm thinking about it and as we're having this discussion, it feels like, you say, I think you're right on the money when you say, like, it feels like it's a long-term plan for them. And obviously, there was a lot of arguments of saying, where around the time when ABK is like, you don't spend 69 billion to get that, to give up exclusivity. But if giving up exclusivity was a long-term plan and they just wanted to own the biggest IPs, then that they could get the money back off of, then it kind of starts making a little bit of sense why they've done it and why they've worked so hard to do it.
Like, I think that's spot on. They would have done projections to go, okay, if we make Call of Duty exclusive, we make everything on Activision's books exclusive, it's going to take us this long to recoup the cost. If we don't, then it'll take us less time to recoup the cost. Somebody did that calculation as a spreadsheet somewhere, right?
I don't think it's a case of like, they definitely did. There's been calculations for every different permutation of these deals. Yeah. But like, I don't think it was a case of like, well, we've bought them, now how do we make the most money out of them? I think what's happened is, in my mind anyway, they've gone, what's the best course of action for us to hit a certain amount? Is that course of action to become a third-party publisher and buy all these studios so that we own the IPs and get the money from them? And I think that's more likely than them going, all right, let's make all these studios exclusive. Actually, now we've got them, let's not. I think it was the long-term plan if the rumors are true.
We'll find out soon.
Matt, anything we haven't spoken about that you want to add onto this conversation at all?
I don't think so. Like, I think it's been a great conversation. Like, I've loved it. And like, it will be fascinating to see how much more of a conversation we can have after Phil Spencer comes out with a statement or Xbox comes out with a statement. Like, I am still very much in the boat that I think that statement, as long as they've taken to write it, will not clear things up enough. And And so we could still be in this boat for a little while as Hi-Fi Rush trickles onto the Switch, and then
Which is guaranteed that is happening. I'm letting you know. Hi-Fi Rush, whether or not they walk back other things, Hi-Fi Rush and what was the other one that was Sea of Thieves are both coming to Switch and PlayStation. I
think so.
I feel
and
that one in my bones.
I agree, and I think if that's what it was, and it was like little Hi-Fi Rush titles, or Sea of Thieves has been out for what 5 years at this point.
Yeah.
Like if it was that stuff, great. But like even if that is the case, and it is just that stuff, and it's not Starfield and it's not Indiana Jones, how do you communicate that? It's like, you know, this game that came out a year ago that's like a bit more indie and chilled, so that's going, and Sea of Thieves, which came out 5 years ago. There's no like clear, oh, it's these games.
Did you just call a Bethesda game indie?
Well, yeah, I said it feels a bit more indie, didn't I?
Okay, I'll let it go. I'll let it go.
In its soul, its soul feels indie as well.
Okay, cool. All right, sure.
But yeah, like, how do you draw that line clearly?
You can't.
The only way you can draw that line clearly is if you say it's everything. It's Halo, it's Gears of War, it's Forza, it's everything is going everywhere as long as it can run it. So Switch is just getting Hi-Fi Rush.
The problem is the damage control for me is whatever damage control they do now, I'm not going to believe a word they say.
Because
plans will change.
Well, I've heard it all before. Like I've been here. I heard that we've got exclusives. Oh, delay. And don't get me wrong, I understand delays. Game development's hard. I get that. Or we've got some really good stuff coming, and we sat here, or me, and I've sat here with insert co-host here, saying, next year. Next year's going to be a good year. Yeah, next year's going to be a good year. I've been saying that for 7 years, it feels like.
Yeah.
Like, man, I'm so...
It's tiring being an Xbox fan, right? Sometimes.
I think it's tiring being a gaming fan. It's tiring being a gaming fan. It's tiring people telling you you're a fucking idiot because you have passion. And that's, again, if I can get anything out there to people... Don't let people on the internet tell you you can't have feelings about something that you care about. Like, I don't care. Like, we do bash the fanboys quite often on this podcast. We talk about them. I'm not a fanboy. Matt's not a fanboy. Crash is not a fanboy. D-Spawn's not a fanboy. And we're not. But sometimes sometimes I do see where they're coming from. Again, and because I'm as close to them as probably anyone, right? For as long as I've been doing this, where I'm like, don't tell me how to feel after I've invested my entire Twitter account to retweeting your news and distributing that out to the community and going to what insert convention here and meeting up with people over the bond of this product. Like you can't then say to those people, oh, you're an idiot because you care about this business. It's like, well, no, everyone has fandoms of things, you know, like that's what we do. We support things. We're humans. That's literally what we do. Whether it's a football team, rugby team, game console, you know, the one thing that, like I say, the problem is with gaming is so expensive. So it's hard to play everything. It's hard to own everything. Like some people can't afford to buy an Xbox and a PlayStation and a Switch and a PC and insert whatever thing here and a VR headset, you know? Like, that's not what some people can do. I know we do, and I know we are in... And again, I have to sit there and understand my privilege, you know, very often. But, don't stop telling people they can't feel something. I don't agree with it, personally. I don't think it's fair.
It's an interesting point, actually. Something you said then twigged with me, of going, well, this is a bid to make more money, right? What if there was a conversation of, well, we could increase Game Pass, like charging for Game Pass double for every user, or we can just put stuff on PlayStation and make more money that way. Keep Game Pass the same price. Like the spreadsheet has to net out at zero somewhere, right? Like, or profit somewhere. And so
I'd pay double for Game Pass.
So would I. I don't think a lot of people would. Like, I think Game Pass is the best gaming deal around, for sure.
What are we at right now? We're at 14, right?
14 for Ultimate,
yeah.
So let's say it went
99,
up
15.
Okay, so but what I was about to say, that's pounds we're talking about, by the way. Sorry, our American is not on the podcast this week.
Sure.
Let's say I went up to 20, I'd still pay it. Let's say I went up to 25, I would still pay it.
30?
I would probably still pay it, but that's because I do a weekly Xbox podcast.
Yeah.
Sure.
And,
Now you're
you know,
talking £360 a year.
yeah, but it's for the hobby that I do every single day.
Yeah.
It's more than the price of a Series S.
I 100% understand that, but in the same breath, how much is football tickets? How much is like?
You know
If it's
what?
something you're
Yes,
passionate
absolutely
about,
right.
yeah.
It's something I care about. I have
there's-
no problem paying it.
I get it.
Yeah. And the argument about that would be if they increased the price and made things like, you know, they'd be adding they'd keep adding more value to what you're getting.
Yes. It wouldn't stay exactly the same.
No. There has to be a kind of value add to it. But I know what you're saying, Matt, is like
I know you're saying there's a net there that you have to go.
there's a balance.
All right, well, this much. So yeah, I get exactly
Yeah.
what you're saying. I get exactly what you're saying. But all right, boys. Until I guess next week when we find out what is actually going on in the Xbox world. So my question before we move on fully:
Good.
will Xbox exclusives end up on PlayStation? Yes or no, Matt?
I think some will and some won't.
Yes or no, Matt?
Yes.
Despawn, will Xbox exclusives like Gears of War and Starfield end up on PlayStation? Yes or no?
No. But I'm very tentative about it.
You're so wrong.
I know.
When there's
hope
smoke,
I'm
there's fire, mate. When there's
Hey,
smoke, there's fire.
I think Halo is the biggest domino. If Halo goes across, it's free everything, literally everything. But Halo, I think, is probably the last domino to fall, and I don't actually see that happening.
Fair enough. Matt,
Yo,
guess that game time, my friend.
it is time for Guess That Game. It's back for another week. I've picked a game, and the boys have 1 minute and 30 seconds to ask me yes or no questions so that they can guess the game correctly. Currently, the leaderboard stands. Crash at the very tippy top with 2 points. Fixer in second place with 1 point. And in joint, little old last place, me and Despawn. This week is Despawn's chance to get off the bottom floor
Yeah, right.
because I can't score a point because I'm hosting it this week.
Yeah.
So, I need to bring up the stopwatch.
Yeah, we don't have to see it. We don't have to. You can just, you don't.
We trust you.
I like being able to see it.
Okay, cool. All right.
And I have to remember the
Despawn.
game that I picked,
Platform.
which has just come back to me.
Genre. Platform. Genre.
Whoa. Come on, you two. There's no conferring before the game begins.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, sir.
So we will start with Fixer, and we'll go back and forth, obviously. There's only 2 of you this week. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Xbox 360 generation.
Yes?
Exclusive?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, not Xbox 360 generation. No.
Okay.
Exclusive? No.
Okay, Xbox One generation.
Yes.
Capcom.
No.
EA.
No.
Activision.
No.
One of the big AAA publishers. Okay.
No. No. Now.
Okay.
No, now. Okay.
Now, yes.
Now,
No.
yes.
No, when it launched.
All right. Single player.
No. Yes. It's launched, yes. Now, no.
The hell?
making this easy.
Shooter.
No.
Third person platformer.
No.
Okay. Rhythm based.
No.
Remedy.
No. I'm getting too many texts. I can't.
Cyberpunk.
No.
I didn't mean to say Cyberpunk. I meant to say Project Red.
City Project Red.
No. You won't get the dev.
Okay.
Move on.
Oh wow.
I mean, you might, but like, no.
2D.
No.
3D.
3D.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sports.
Oh mate. Fighting game.
You've run out of time. No. You guys are going to be mad, but you shouldn't be, but you will be.
Oh, mate.
I'll give you another one each if you want. Another question each. What do you want?
Have I played this game?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Have I played this game?
I don't know, but like 9 out of 10, sure, yes.
Okay.
Okay, can I get one more?
Go on, yeah.
No, I know we're messing up a little bit because of the
No, it's
title,
fine.
but would this game have scored higher than an 8 on IGN?
I mean,
I
that's
look
something
it
you
up?
could check.
You
Yeah,
can-
yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just get it helps. It will help me
Yeah.
throw out a game there in the
I
world.
get it.
Yeah.
I think that's a good. I
So-
think that's a good question.
I'm not going to ask another question, but I am going to ask for a recap of the questions we did
Yes,
ask.
absolutely.
Oh, well, I can't remember. Was I
No,
supposed
but
to be giving that then?
like you can tell this guy don't come around much.
It has scored higher than an 8 on IGN.
Okay. So
so-
it is Xbox One game
Yes.
that scored higher than an 8, so 9 or 10.
Yeah.
Not exclusive.
No. Wasn't a big publisher, but now it wasn't a big developer, but now is. Mm-hmm. We didn't get genre, right?
You might be mad at that. I don't know.
Ah, that's fine.
We'll see.
I've definitely played it. Oh, interesting.
I might have played it 9 out of 10 chance that I have.
I've got a game in my head. I don't. Yeah. 3D. Okay.
And 3D.
My guess is, because I don't think we're gonna. My guess is Telltale's The Walking Dead.
Is not correct. Despawn, you got a guess? This is your chance to score a point.
Was
This
it-
season.
Was
it's
it?
an Xbox One generation, right?
Yeah, I'm trying
Yeah.
to think. Was it Xbox One or 360?
I am.
Oh, that was
scared now.
360. The Walking
I
Dead
am
was
scared
360.
now if it was Xbox One or 360.
You were meant to have the Wikipedia.
Yeah, you're supposed to open up the
up,
Wikipedia.
man.
No.
God.
I'll give you another guess if I got it wrong. How's
Okay.
It ain't
Perfect.
gonna make a difference for Despawn. He sucks
No.
at this.
Um,
Absolutely terrible. Come on, Despawn. We need a game.
not an exclusive. Oh God. Dark Souls.
that? Okay. Available on 360.
Oh, you
Ah, you
scumbag.
fucked us.
I know.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. All right, we both guessed. What is it?
Minecraft.
That's exclusive. It's
wasn't.
not. I guess no. It's not.
What do you want about it as exclusive?
Yeah.
It's on everything.
And
Yeah, no, they're definitely a publisher that wasn't, but it is 100%. I agree with you on
There we
that. 100%. I've definitely played it.
I've 100% played that. Like,
Well, there we go.
yeah.
Well, I
He
figured,
doesn't, he
but,
doesn't
like,
know what you
oh, I
play,
know you
does he? He don't know.
Why are you not checking my achievements lists? What the
I
hell?
almost said I would say 9 out of 10 gamers have played it.
We
Right.
should. That's a question we
Yeah.
gotta ask. You know.
That's
Ah,
fair.
like, do you know how easy that would have been with the terms of like, is it a popular game? That would have just helped. Like,
I love the IGN question.
That's good.
What did IGN
that was,
review?
do you know
it,
what? Yeah, but
whatever.
it didn't for Minecraft. It just doesn't help, right?
No.
Because like, I didn't have a clue on Minecraft for the review back then.
Well, that's why I took it up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I was curious, like when they reviewed it. Obviously, it came out in early access. It was PC for a long time only. You know.
Yeah.
All these ambiguous things.
You know
All
what?
these
There we go.
All those.
Which means the scoreboard does not move. Everybody. Crash still in the lead with 2. Then Fixer with 1. Matt and Despawn down on 0.
Let's jump into Fix a Sack before we get out of here, boys. Remember, you can email in myxboxandmepodcast@gmail.com, or you can hit us up in our Discord, which is in the description below, or hit us up on Twitter @MCFixer, @MattPVideo, Paul Despawn,
Nailed it.
legend, or @MyXboxandMe. We've got a few here, a couple of jokes, couple of just, Eldoza says, what do you think the Xbox endgame is? Matt?
The Xbox endgame is to be the Netflix of gaming.
Yeah, okay. That's such a, even you saying that out loud, just doesn't make sense to me because just gaming's so different to an hour and a half film or TV show. It's just so much harder to achieve that. But yeah, I do think ultimately, I do think you're correct. They're the first to get an app on a Samsung TV. Do you know what I think? That's what pisses me off as well. I bought a fucking Samsung TV. You think I wanted a Samsung TV? I don't give a crap about a Samsung TV, but because it has the Xbox app, I bought it.
I felt the same way, and I'll shut up. Never mind. Move on.
Yeah, I got you. No problem. D-Spawn, anything on the end game for Xbox?
I kind of have to agree. I think the joke answer is to get all of your money, but I genuinely think they want to become
But is it? They can never get all of my money. They don't make good enough games right now.
But they want to get to a point where they can offer a service that is good enough to get all of your money.
But I don't think so. I think they're just happy. They're quite content just taking a little money out of you every month.
I can't. Yeah.
Just a little boop, 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 boop. Forget we're even here. We're just taking your money.
Yeah, no, I do agree.
Yeah.
Toplift91 says, do you think that if Xbox could get Game Pass on PlayStation and Switch, then Xbox, as we know it, is dead in the water? Yes. As soon as Xbox loses its ability, for me, to be a unique, combative platform to others, people are going to leave in droves. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be totally wrong. And this is when me and Matt obviously look at it from two different sides, right? Because I look at it strictly from a console to PC side, where Matt comes at it from a TV to cloud sort of place. And I just think if you don't have a reason for people to go there, when the next generation comes around, I think this generation, people, I agree with you, Matt. I think the outrage culture and the I'm taking my Xbox to GameStop right now and all that crap, like I think there's a lot of hyperbole out there right now on the internet. But I do think the hardcore gamer, people that are on Twitter complaining and stuff like that, they are going to remember this moment when the Xbox whatever comes out. And as much as Xbox are going to try and get them with their, but we've got your library and we've got backwards compat and we've got all this, I think gamers are going to go, and I still have that old console. And if I really need to play those games, I will get that out. Still going to be 4K, still going to be, 120 hertz, all this crap. Like, I think they're going to go, I'm going to go to a place where when needed. I think that's the big difference right now between PlayStation and Xbox. Sony need PlayStation to survive as a company. Microsoft don't need Xbox.
Yeah, it's probably true.
And I think that's where I've come down now, where I'm like, as I get older and sappier, I want to feel a part of something. I want to feel wanted. I want to feel needed as a consumer. In my video games, again, very different for every other medium, but for my video games and the community behind that, I do want to feel a part of it. And more and more and more, I don't feel a part of it with Xbox.
I think like we just said, right? Gamers are far more fickle than they like to bravado that they are. When PlayStation announced the PS3 at a ridiculous price tag and went, "Well, just go get a second job, fucking loser." Like, there's not literally something they said, but they did say go get a second job.
They did say get a second job, yeah.
Not the fucking loser bit is what I was.
No, I remember that bit at E3.
but like, that's a kick in the teeth of the fan base. A lot of people felt that, but nobody went to Xbox because of that.
Yes, they did. 360 was the
Not
only
because of that.
Yes, because of that.
But maybe because of the price tag, but not because of what they. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, all right. Yeah, maybe
100%. That's the last time we saw Xbox be competitive on, like, from a casual point of view. You went to anybody's house, you saw a 360. You may have also saw a PS3.
Yeah.
But you saw a 360.
Yeah, well, maybe. Maybe they're better at it than I assume that they are.
I think so. I do. What was the question? Jesus.
Can't remember.
It's just the end of Xbox.
It's been a long app.
Yeah.
Oh, the dead in the water. I don't know. I don't think. No, I think that No, they won't be dead in the water. I think Matt's right. I think Ryan's right when we spoke about that, right? I don't think they'll ever be dead in the water. I think they have something so perfect in Game Pass that is going to continue to make them billions, if not billions, eventually. And they'll find that sweet spot with developers where they can pay them enough to keep putting the game in and it going out when it works and stuff like that. I just wonder if they're going to lose out on a lot of other stuff when they eventually do put these games everywhere else, but only time tell.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with that. I think, yeah, it's not going to be the end. Definitely not this generation. Probably not next. Probably not the one after that. To be fair, I think Xbox, the way that they're looking at this, if the rumors are true, just put that on a t-shirt at this point. I think they're looking at the end of generations. They're looking at the PC culture of gaming now. They're trying to look at the iterative versions of it. Whereas you put it in the cloud, all they have to do is just upgrade the blades that Azure runs on, make the games run better. Internet gets better. The games are already there. You're not losing anything. The games that you've got your subscription service, and like I think Matt's nailed it with they want to be the Netflix of games, and they are so far in front of everyone else doing that. I think they're going to have such a good run of it. That I don't think it's going to be the end of Xbox for a long time. I just think it's going to be the end of Xbox as we know it. Yeah. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? We shall find out soon enough.
We certainly will. I've got two more here, which one comes from Origin Cookie Man. If you could choose to level up any of your Xbox services, e.g. Cloud Gaming, Play Anywhere, Play Day One, which would you choose and why? I think Cloud Gaming for me. If Cloud Gaming could work flawlessly in terms of from an internet perspective of being out and about, like there's so many times that I'd love to be able to just pull up a game when it sounds stupid, like Haley goes into a shop, right, and then she wants to go walk around. I'm like, I'm gonna sit on this bench. If I could literally, the idea is you can literally just sit on that bench and play a video game at quality level. Once we get to that, that's what I would upgrade, and that would be amazing. I tried to do it when we was in McDonald's once, and I was trying to play Resident Evil 2 because I just added that to Game Pass, right? So I was like, hey, I'll quickly run through the beginning of Resident Evil 2 just to see how this is, and it didn't work like off of the McDonald's Wi-Fi and stuff like that, which was a shame. But that's the one I would go to upgrade, and I think that's why Xbox is still going to be very relevant for years to come, because if they can get that working before everybody else, it is huge.
I think the problem with that is they have to rely on infrastructure that's not in their control.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Wi-Fi's, 5G networks, those kind of things. So yeah, hopefully they can bring the bandwidth required down on their side, but that's not something they have got direct control of. But as we've seen with all of these advances in technology, those things will come. And again, we talked about it, like they are well suited to be ready for it when it is, at that level. For me, not such a wide ranging thing, but it is a Game Pass. My digital library that I have bought and I own, put that in Game Pass.
Yeah.
Let me play that in the cloud. Let me play, like, if I bought a game digitally, because again, they want everyone to buy everything digitally, or nowadays they want everyone to subscribe to everything digitally, but they want everyone to be in their ecosystem and buying and putting their money into it. Give me a reason to do that. If they turn around next week and say, right, every digital game you now own, you can play through Game Pass and cloud gaming. Sweet. Because I know you can do your restream from your console, but let it natively run in xCloud or cloud gaming or whatever you want to call it. Let it run natively in there so that all of that bandwidth and control is done via the cloud gaming stuff. And if I buy a game, I can just fire it up immediately, keep playing it wherever I am. And I know that that's always in that library. And it's not something I'm going to lose because it's always going to be a digital copy that is in their clouds. And granted, licenses and things like that. But make my digital library available on cloud. That's what I want.
Interesting. Matt?
I think I'd like to say what you said, Fix, right? And it's like an infrastructure thing of just that cloud gaming being smoother, being better, load times being better. Loading into the app is typically loading into the game is typically the longest thing, especially when you're on an unstable network. It just takes forever. But I think we'll get there.
Eventually.
Not as far
Last
as you
one,
think.
and then we will go. Big Willie _P says, shout out Big Willie. We will see what Phil announces for next week. But in the meantime, let's imagine a world where Xbox goes the Sega route and is now a third party. Who steps in to take place in the hardware market? Anyone, or do we go back to the 90s with just 2 consoles on the market? I personally think you see Apple take a swing. I just, if you're asking me to sit here and the Xbox a publisher, I don't see why Apple they've been dabbling in games for a while. Obviously, we had the big when the new phones got announced, which I ended up getting like, oh look, Resident Evil was on here. Like, doesn't play very well. I could see them going, yeah, we're gonna look. They've just got their VR headset, so it would work with that. And
I was gonna say, like, I can't believe Xbox didn't jump on that. Like, I saw videos of people saying, okay, you can remote play through the Apple Vision Pro, but basically you have to remote play like a PlayStation to your iPad and then mirror that to your Vision Pro, and it works. And the latency is what the latency is when you kind of a daisy chaining like that. But yeah, I'm surprised that thing didn't launch with an xCloud app. Like, if Microsoft are really doubling down on this shit, like, that would have probably been a better advert for xCloud than anything. If you'd seen people playing Halo and Forza, walking around New York City and being all the weird bullshit that we've seen from Apple Pro over the last few weeks, you should have got your logo in there, Xbox. But hey ho.
Who do you think, if someone was to step in?
Definitely not Apple. Apple take too long to develop a thing, right? Like, they've only just come out with their VR thing, right? And I think, like,
And
if they were going to seriously,
£3,000 or whatever it is.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think they probably have seriously looked at gaming before. And you see it weirdly, them pushing it now on their MacBook Pros and stuff like that, right? Like with Resident Evil 8 and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? These
Death
weird
Stranding.
partnerships. And Death Stranding, yeah. But I think gaming is probably something they looked heavily into and decided it wasn't for them. And I think probably the iPhone impacted that massively, because the iPhone became a gaming device in a way I don't think they were expecting. And so their version of that is Apple Arcade, and it exists already. I don't foresee them doing that. I honestly would feel like had Stadia not just folded, like if Stadia was still limping along, it'd be Google. It'd be a Google that would see a gap in the market like that and go for it. But Google are pretty ruthless.
They just drop things too often.
They're worse than Microsoft at doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I genuinely, serious answer, I do not think another company will enter into the hardcore like gaming space like Xbox and PlayStation have. I think what we'll see is companies like ROG and Steam Decks and things like that. The handheld hardware that can run all these games will probably expand, and we'll see, again, we'll talk about the services. We'll see those services coming to those hardware rather than anyone else jumping into the hardware space. So technically, Microsoft are going to do it with Windows and just putting Windows on other people's third-party devices. And that's how they're going to do it.
Okay. Fair enough. Boys, great episode. Let's plug and get ourselves out of here. Matt, why are you bowing? If you're not watching the video, Matt just bowed after doing the episode.
I stretch, I walk around
Crazy.
every now and again.
I'll be doing that soon, Matt. I'll be in my office next week. I'll be doing that.
Are you going to be stood up?
We're going to be
Stood up for the
standing,
next
boys. We're going to be
Stood up by
standing, boys.
450. Is that what we say?
What?
Stood up by episode 450.
Oh. Yeah,
2
sure.
weeks. You got 2 weeks. You got this.
Okay, if you say so, bud. Plug yourself, Matt. What you got to plug this week? We've been working on that at work. Anything?
Well, we did all sorts of stuff at work. Head over to the YouTube channel. I think I've frozen.
You did.
Yeah,
you
you
froze
did.
for a second. You're still frozen. Everyone's frozen.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, we're
Oh,
back.
there you go. Sorry,
back.
go on, Matt.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah, we're definitely live, people.
Scary. What was I saying? Yeah, Deep's been editing a bunch of stuff for us on the channel. I think we've been putting up really, really good stuff lately. Really like good variety of stuff as well on the TikToks and the YouTubes at Future Game Show. And obviously we've got our next showcase coming up in March, and we've got some really cool stuff coming that I can't talk about, obviously.
It's me. I'm the host.
Keep an eye out.
Yeah, he's definitely not, trust me.
Very
Disman, what you
nearly
got to
said
plug
what the
this
hosts were
week?
then.
What shall I plug this week? Go check out the Twitch. Twitch.tv/my Xbox and me. You know, this episode isn't on there, but you know, we were doing a ton of stuff. We've been very busy this week, so we've not been live as much as we'd like to. But I've got a ton of games to cover this week and next week, so I will be probably live more than once. So yeah, keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, the big thing I'll plug, I've kind of spoken about it a little bit, is the Battle of the Beta. I hosted my first host. This is probably my first big hosting role. Obviously, I guess I did a TV show. I guess that was kind of big. That was kind of big.
That's only Channel 4.
I wish. I think in the gaming space, you know, obviously this was for Skull and Bones. This was for Ubisoft. This was a very, very big deal. If you haven't watched it, go check it out on the Twitch channel. I wish they would put it on YouTube and stuff and like have clipped it out and stuff, but they're not. I think it's just living on Twitch, which. Okay, but yeah, Ubisoft's Twitch channel. You can check out myself and Yusuf hosting Battle of the Beta for Skull and Bones. I interviewed Chloe and Chris and Andy Tang, all from Ubisoft Singapore, and I think we got the best out of them. I really do. I think we had a really good, genuine conversation about the game, and there's a lot to learn from it. A lot to learn about the game from it. So yeah, definitely go check that out if you haven't. And yeah, if you're new, you've come over from my Xbox to me. If you come over from Unlocked, welcome. I hope you enjoyed our episode. We'd love it if you joined us over on Twitter, and obviously our Discord is the main thing. We have a bunch of great conversations going on there with a great community. So do consider joining our Discord. And yeah, until next time, we will love you, leave you, and see you all later. Goodbye.